this is chapter 2, Encompass. And the reason we call it Encompass is because we're going to do a leadership compass assessment test. But before we do, I wanted to tell a little story about my mom, Maya, how she had different interests and personalities while pregnant with each and every one of us. With Hương, me, I want to call myself in third person, I don't know. But with me, she wants to do everything and try everything. While pregnant with Hạnh, she liked to eat.
I do. I like to eat.
Like when she would come home from work, all she wanted to do was eat anything and everything that she could. And at the same time, she also felt more quiet. Like she was harboring feelings. She gave my dad a lot of silent treatments during that time.
I have my moments. What can I say?
And then while with Hugh, Maya always wanted to get home and just snuggle in bed with a book. And then when Huang came along, she wanted to snuggle in bed, but with her burrito.
That sounds so good right now.
In terms of tasks, though, she always wanted to get things done quickly. It wasn't always done well, but she just knew, I got to get this done. And she also mentioned this other part about going to church, about being able to close our eyes and really visualize and feel like this, whatever the priest and God was telling her felt augmented. I'm not sure how that ties in to Huang yet, but I think the major part of the story is that our personalities are different, and my mom felt it while we were gestating in her belly. That's Han's favorite word. But that's just how Maya viewed us. And to know a little bit more about why the first chapter had different stories and different experiences is because they came from different perspectives. And so the Encompass leadership assessment is to help color in our personality, and so that you listeners can get to know us a little bit more, the characters in this book. So without further ado, pause this, go take the leadership compass test, and then join us as we start this episode.
Welcome to Growing Up Nguyễn, a story of 4 siblings holding on to our identity
while fulfilling our parents' dreams.
I'm Hương. I'm Karin Hạnh.
I'm Hedda Hiếu.
And I'm Ben Hoàng. These are the blessings and challenges of being Nguyễn in America.
Self-assessment or self-identification. Let's start off with the north side. Hương, will you kick us off?
I'll read some of the traits. The north is all about taking action. They like to take the plunge in. They might be the person to say, let's do it. And, they will probably run charge of all the daily operations. Does anyone self-identify as the north?
I did.
Ooh.
I think some of the traits for north are taking charge, and you drive the work and you get it done. And I feel like I'm definitely that person who will do things that need to get done. I always think of actually when I was I guess it wasn't always this way. Back in high school, during the summer, I would do workshops in music. And the instructor told me that I was very capable of leading, but it was just that I was too lazy to.
What?
Yeah. So, I guess it's true. But again, if there were things that needed to get done, then it would be done. But I thought that everyone else was just as capable. So I never purposely stepped up.
Wait, she did this in front of a group?
She really thought you lazy?
Yeah, it was during a lunchtime. I remember everyone was settling down to have lunch and packing our papers and whatnot. And yeah.
She just went out. She's like, you have potential. You just lazy.
I guess it's also, it was weird to us, or we don't think of you as lazy because, I guess I wonder if it's also a situation. Maybe it's also a timing thing because, you were telling me that story at the gym.
Oh my gosh, I got this. Don't worry. So Hugh and I were working out. She's a fitness trainer, and it was during the summer before college. And she and I were doing some workouts. I think we were doing squats. And I turned to her and I told her, I don't know if I should do this. I don't know. I'm not feeling it. And she was standing there and she just went, just do it. Do it. Go, Juan, go.
Fun fact. Hedda, my first name actually means warrior.
Oh my God. You're right. Wow. German roots.
Yes, I actually got that first name from my dad. Should we move on to west?
Let me name off some qualities. So West people need to know information to assist in decision making. They maximize resources and are very practical and dependable. Does anyone identify as a West?
I do.
Ooh, okay.
I was thinking about the gym story that you told earlier, and it just really resonated with how I approach my gym. And I go to the gym, but I go for the group classes. And it first started at UC Berkeley. I would go to it was a kickboxing class. Well, at first I started on the treadmill because I didn't know what to do. It wasn't really my thing. I just let me just get 30 minutes of cardio on a treadmill. But I started to peek in and see this kickboxing class doing all this funky choreography. So I started to join, and it gave me life. I was so into it. The way that she would describe how to, you have to wrap your thumb out on the outside of your knuckles to protect your thumb, keeping your hands raised, your power comes from your hips. Those little details really made sense in my mind. And that's why I think in my mind, I also translate to boxing well, but some box instructors may not.
Okay.
Humble.
So on the other hand, the thing that didn't, the one workout class that didn't resonate with me then was the yoga class. And I think it was because the way the instructor would just give us all these big themes in the class, and we would do these movements, but I wasn't making the connection as to what am I doing this movement? It wasn't until later in life when I started doing yoga and there was more of a practice of alignment and strength that I understood that when you're opening up to a warrior two, are you pressing into your feet and you're igniting your arms? We're not just flailing our arms out. So I think it became those little details. That's when I can really get into a workout class.
And now you're a yoga teacher.
Oh, yes.
Very good one too.
I think one of the things that didn't work for me in the yoga class was their big themes that they would throw. It was more of an East mindset. And let me go into a little bit about the East. They like the big picture. They like the themes and the ideas. And a lot of times, as they say in yoga, imagine. Did anyone here identify as the East?
That'd be me. For myself, when I was in Colorado, I had a small group exercise class that I joined. And when we first met up for this class, before I joined, he asked me what my goals were. And so I came in he was like, oh, it'll be like a 15, 30-minute meeting. And I came in and we talked for an hour because I had such these grand ideas about what I'd be doing and where I'd be within a year and all these things I'd be able to do with my body, just that were all over the map. They were like, I'm building my flexibility, but I also want to get strong. I'm want to be able to do these body weight things, but then also introduce a lot of power. And so not all of them, necessarily worked in sync with each other.
So I guess Josh was the West to your East.
Yes, we narrowed it down to lift heavy and do more pull-ups.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
And that took you how long? Session?
Oh, we met for an hour when it was supposed to be like a 15, 30-minute consult.
Speaking of 1 hour, can you tell us how early were you on your first day of work, Hen?
Oh, for those of you who might not know that I started a new job recently and I came an hour earlier than that was my report time. I was supposed to arrive at 9. I came at 8.
I think most of us go 10, 15 minutes early.
Yeah, I overachieved this goal.
Okay.
I think there's a pattern here.
I also think, I know you overachieved this goal. I think there was a goal. Who would you say was an overachieving of the goal too when we made it to Estonia?
Oh my. Okay. I don't know. Okay, I would not call that overachieving.
Okay.
I would say that you have a big picture vision, but you don't always have the steps in order. Okay. So what I'm talking about, what Hương has just mentioned, has been a scarring moment, a traumatic moment in many of our lives. So much so that my mother remembers it herself. So Hương and I were waiting at a ferry station where we were supposed to take the ferry from Finland to Estonia. And Hatton was supposed to meet us there with our mom. And we got separated. But we had a meeting point and we were going to meet there at 12 and the ferry is going to leave at 12. So we have to be there, 10, 15 minutes early or whatnot. Sorry. Oh yeah, you forgot that part, huh? You forgot that part too, huh? Okay. Well, time comes around. Hương and I are standing around like, dang, what do we do? Because we're in a foreign country. We don't have cell service like usual. We don't know what to do. We can't contact them. And we're just waiting around. And it's better to stay there because we all already had the plan to go. Everyone knows we're going on the ferry today. Everyone knows. And
yes, it was very clear on the agenda.
11:57 rolls around. We're still looking around and like the people who are about to board us, they're like, if they're not all here, like you two can go. But, if they're not here, they're not here. And Hương and I are like, oh my God, like we're not going to like just be separated in a foreign country. Like, what are we going to do?
Ooh, I remember now too that wasn't it also the last day of this festival that we could go?
Yes, it was the last day of the festival of Lualupidu, which is the 100-year anniversary of Estonia's independence that Hoàng was going to be performing at with his choir. So we were super excited, but also we on a time crunch here. Okay. So 11:58, we turn around. We just stand there hoping, we praying. We look up the hill and what do I see? My poor mother has taken off her shoes, her little heels, so she could run down the hill to the ferry building. And I just want to know, Han, what in the world? Why is my poor, a little bit more than middle-aged mother running down a hill to make it to this ferry?
I remember this moment. I'm glad. I think I had the overarching idea, which was that we got to be on the ferry. What escaped me was the details. Did I know the exact time? Was I meeting that time schedule? It was lost on me. I'm not going to lie.
And this is why we don't leave Hatton with mother anymore. Oh my goodness.
Oh God.
I think we could take it over to the South now.
Yes. Okay. So the South is interactive, supportive of colleagues and peers, and they're able to focus on the present moment. Who dat?
Last but not least, it's me. It's Hoàng. One story that comes to me is actually another gym story. It's another time when I was in the gym with Hiếu. We were doing benching, and I was just on the bench. I was doing my reps, and I put the bar back up, and I just see Hiő's face just poking over the bar, and she goes, "Good job, Hoàng." And, internally, I was like, yes.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me to add to that story earlier of us at the gym where I was telling Hoàng to just go and go do it. When it was my turn, I was actually like, I don't really want to do this. Like, should I do this? Should I go up and wait? And Hoàng was just like, well, what do you feel like doing? And so, of course, being me, I was just like, all right, I'm just going to go.
It's also kind of like when we were in Nashville. Do you remember, Hiếu? We were in the car. We had just probably gone to the whiskey distillery.
Oh, yeah.
And we were deciding what to do next. It was like around 4 p.m. We have about 2 hours before it hits 6 o'clock and we can go to eat dinner. And we're like, what can we do in those 2 hours? And I wanted to see a live music event perhaps. And you had something other on the agenda. So we both turned to Hoàng like, what would you want to do? What should we do? I told him, we can do the live music or you can do this. And Hoàng repeats back, well, who wants to do this? And who wants to do this? And you were like, yes, we know. And I think the West of me were like, we don't got time, Hoàng. We got to go. Pick one.
Always supportive of colleagues and peers.
Well, now that we've all done our self-identification, let's take the quiz and then come back. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Quiz results.
Was anyone surprised by what they received on their assessment?
I think I was a little bit surprised. North was my second to lowest score. I got a 5 out of 11. And then for West and South, which is analytical and empathy, I got a 7. And East, which is vision, I got a 2, which was my lowest score.
Whoa, you're empathetic?
I would say, so it sounds like you're on the Southwest spectrum. It's interesting because I'm on the Northwest spectrum where I got, well, I guess this was a surprise, or maybe not so much. 11 out of 11 for West.
No.
Oh, you scored high.
Okay, that's what we call overachieving, okay?
And then my North was about a 5. So it was definitely in the Northwest sphere. And then meanwhile, on the East and South, it was, I think, 4 for South and 2 for East.
For myself, I wasn't too surprised by the results. I got equal across the board, 6 in the East, 6 in the South, 6 in the West, and then I scored a 2 in the North.
So for me, I scored highest in the South. I think like 8 out of 11 or 12 it is. And I actually surprisingly scored higher in the West, about like 7, and then really low in the North. I got 1. I do not like leading. I do not want to be in the front.
Oh, we know.
And then like a 4 in the West or East.
Okay.
So how accurate do you guys think this quiz is?
Well, okay, I'm not going to lie. I actually reread the quiz and then it went back and put 2 half points in the North. So that's how I got a 2. So we actually scored the same flag.
Okay.
I don't have any half points. I didn't know there was a half point option.
I wasn't aware.
Han's just making things up now.
Well, for me, I was just thinking that I'm younger than you guys and I haven't had a lot of life or work experience to apply the self-assessment to. And since it's a leadership quiz, it was hard for me to figure out where I actually landed on the compass. So the only thing I could relate to was like with my personal relationships or my friendships.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just because I think people can be different in the workplace versus in their relationships or how they are at home. Because I definitely felt like as I was filling out the quiz, I was doing it more based on how I would react in the workplace. And in terms of being at home, I feel like Huang and I always get into arguments because of my like more North qualities in comparison to his more South, I guess. So I always want to be doing something and being active. And North, that was the lowest score for you, right, Huang?
Yeah.
And for Hatton too.
Thank you.
But yeah, I'm always like, do something, Huang.
And I'm always like, chill, take it easy. Well, by the way, did anyone check off that box about challenges from difficult situations or people?
No, I did not.
No?
It was not my one box that I checked.
Or half?
It was not even my half box that I checked.
Okay, well, I guess no one checked that because, I mean, I think I get that from my parents because nobody checked that box because ain't nobody likes to have a hard time, okay? Our parents were immigrants, the life's been rough, and intergenerational trauma, okay?
Oh, she brought that up.
Bringing it back to leadership real quick, I think as a group, we all look to you as a leader, Hương. So do you think all of this thoughtfulness as a strong West puts you into this leadership position when you don't necessarily mean to be a leader? Or do you think it's just because you're able to think out all of the scenarios that are possible that people choose you to be a leader naturally?
I wonder how many people think I am a leader.
You're also the oldest sibling, so we all look up to you.
Thinking on my own personal experience, I do feel more comfortable, more sure of things when someone gives information to me in a very step-by-step or detailed manner. That makes me feel like I can believe in the person. So I wonder, maybe that resonates with people, that they can feel more comfortable with the situation.
I can say it works for me.
I also wonder, though, as Hwang had mentioned, is that I'm the oldest sister. So I do think that there's other personality traits coming into play. And this is only one single assessment, and it's only for the leadership compass. And there's other assessments that we'll do about our personalities. But even among all of them, we should take them with a grain of salt. It's just for us to understand ourselves better. So in terms of understanding, though, I do want to ask Hạnh about when you are processing information with an East mindset. Do you have any advice or insight that you can give to us and all the listeners?
Oh, this is harder.
How East of you? I don't think it's really...
Okay. I don't have like any specific comments or like examples. The one thing that it's on my mind lately is this Japanese concept of ma. So it seems, I know, Hoon's giving me this look where it seems like, what? It's like, it's a very unrelated. And I know. So it's this idea in Japanese gardens where you might place a rock in the middle of the garden to break up the viewpoint of the eye. So we'll pass through like a forest and all of a sudden you hit a rock garden and there's these parallel lines on the rock surfaces and just gives this like calming, peaceful break. And you might place these like in a stream that's running and flowing, you might place rocks to like break up the stream to create a different sort of eye flow. And it's not the most efficient idea as possible.
Where are we going?
Am I getting lost right now?
I think I'm getting lost in the big picture.
So I guess taking the time to appreciate all the flows and the ripples, but it might not be the most efficient path.
Why can't we just be efficient?
Wow, very north.
No, but I think this is why it's important for us to learn how each of us thinks. Because when we operate in the compass, we tend to fall in one part of it. And I think we've all, heard now that we tend to fall on one side of the compass a little bit more than others. But knowing that, and that's where our tendency is, for me as a West, I always know, like, if I want to ask a little bit more ideas, these pictures or big picture ideas, I can, ask on the East side. Just knowing where we operate, knowing that we can lean on others is also important.
Yeah, definitely. Just to add, it was definitely, I feel like the point of this entire quiz was to say that everyone needs aspects of all of these to be a good leader. So in order to be a good leader, I think you need to be empathetic, have that self quality. And maybe that's like, oh, do you like the work that you're doing? Right. But if you're able to also figure out that somebody is going through a really hard time and is dealing with personal issues at home and they just can't do the work right now, I can't get this done, you can reallocate that to someone else. And that reallocation, that doing, is an aspect of the North. And you can figure out that the person is not going to be able to contribute to the final project because something is going on with them, while also keeping in your mind your vision, that Eastness for how everything is going to be accomplished, because you can analyze what areas need to be worked on. And what areas need to be worked on is a quality of the rest, right? So it makes sense that you all need these aspects to be able to work as an effective leader.
Yeah, that's probably the most succinct way to put it.
You know what's interesting is that we took the self-assessment and predetermined that we are all one part of the compass.
I'm just thinking, yes, a self-assessment.
Okay, dictionary.com, my bad. But we're finding out that we all have traits of each part of the compass. Where we lean, though, that's where we're the strongest. And I think that we use our strengths to support one another in our daily lives.
Oh, for sure. I think that's what makes us work. We are like we're four tools in a toolbox that complement each other. It's like you need the hammer, the screwdriver. Maybe it doesn't work. Okay,
this
we complement each other.
This analogy is interesting. But, that makes me think, do you think that we get along because we encompass all parts of the compass?
Ooh. Mic drop, y'all. We're the N compass. Nguyen compass. Let that soak in. But I just want to add on that you're right. It's like because of these different perspectives, it makes us or allows us to give a more fuller Vietnamese American experience for the listeners because we're telling it from different perspectives. Like I have more of a West Side, Hatton has the East Ma perspective. And in addition to this, of course, there's those external factors like our school, our neighborhoods, our friends. But having each other means that we can, tackle a little bit more of that Vietnamese experience from a multi-generational view. Give it some more flavor.
Yeah. I think that Hương brings up really good points. As you're getting to know us as siblings, we're wanting to discuss more of those external factors that have shaped us, beginning close to home with our parents. From the moment we realized, or perhaps when others pointed out that we were different.
Well, like that, because I think that's where it happens a lot, right? People pointing it out. Mm-hmm.
And then going forward, we'll talk more about these instances in our Vietnamese-American experience through sibling rivalries, practicing Vietnamese customs, and more.
Mm-hmm.
Just to close out, I think we had a really luxurious discussion.
Ooh, luxurious. Okay, Hen.
We did a self-assessment using the leadership compass, and I hope this discussion was all helpful. We have the link to the self-assessment in our bio link. Please send us an email if there's any other specific questions that we might have answered in this podcast.
Like if you're a West, are you also the oldest child?
Or if you're a South, are you the youngest child?
Let us know.
Yes, drop us an email or in the chat. And then until then, we'll talk to you again in Chapter 3. Bye.
Thanks for listening to our podcast, Growing Up Nguyễn. We'd love to hear what you think about our episode today, so please reach out to us through our website at www.growingup.nguyen.com or follow us on Instagram at growing.up.nguyen. If you like this episode, please share it with a friend. We're Hương, Hạnh, Hiếu, and Hoàng, and this is Growing Up Nguyễn.